Welcome back to another episode of the Glory Reds podcast. And United and Liverpool drew yesterday in the much anticipated derby that everyone thought was going to put Ten Hag back on the chopping block. But to their dismay, we managed to keep Liverpool at bay.
Yeah,
What's up,
yeah.
dog? What's happening, man?
Nah, was good, dog. Was good. Was good.
Yeah, man.
I'm happy. I don't care
Yeah,
what anybody says. I'm happy. I'm
yeah,
happy. We we
yeah,
we went to Anfield and we got a point. That's the
yeah.
most important thing.
True.
Because building up to this game, everybody thought we were going to be smashed,
Yeah,
and it felt good getting that result yesterday because it was just justification for how I've been backing these guys, saying that nah,
yeah,
that 7-0 was a glitch in the matrix. There's no way it's happening. Yes,
yeah.
they might beat us, but we are not going to let them walk over us. And I'm happy because yesterday, them boys went out to fight, man.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm happy, bro.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Obviously they're frustrated. They're top of the league. They wanted to, keep that position, and we basically just spoiled the day for them. But anyway, let's start where we always get started. Starting
Yeah.
11. We had our predictions.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a mixed match of what we expected that came true. Example, Diego Delo starting over Aaron Wan-Bissaka, shocking.
Yeah.
Scott McTominay taking that captaincy instead of Varane, not shocking, given the circumstances of everything. Like I said, I just don't see Varane being captain because of the disputes with the manager that we clearly know that he has, and we
Yeah.
know that Scott McTominay has become Ten Hag's favorite boy, right? Even over Marcus Rashford. But I think Rashford was the most shocking one, to not actually make the starting lineup, and I guess now, because I think it's been what, three consecutive Premier League games he hasn't been on that starting 11. So I think we can officially say that Marcus Rashford has fell out of favor and he needs to fight for himself back in the team. I think it was
Yeah.
the pre-press
Rightfully
conference
so.
they asked, yeah, because I remember I don't know if this was pre or post, but they basically asked him about Marcus Rashford not starting, and he said Marcus Rashford has been feeling ill, you know, so he hasn't been like up to full recovery to start 90 minutes. But anyway, those are his words. But let me just run through the team real quick. So Manchester United started Andre Onana at the back, Rafael Varane paired up with Johnny Evans, Diego Dalot at right back, Luke Shaw at left back. In the middle, we had Sofyan Amrabat, Kobe Mainu, with Scott McTominay, and then on the flanks we had Alejandro Garnacho, Anthony, and of course our rising superstar Rasmus Højlund. So yeah, man, when you saw that lineup, bruh, what are your thoughts, man?
Um, from the midfield going up top, it was exactly what I thought.
Yeah,
The maybe I didn't expect Johnny Evans, but I was also not surprised.
yeah,
Um, Dalot, I wasn't surprised because I understand why he's using Dalot a lot because Dalot is sort of playing like a midfielder, sort of
yeah,
weird kind of role that he's able to execute, and I think the gaffer likes that. So I'm not even going to go too much into that because at the end of the day, we've got Aaron Wan-Bissaka on the bench. They're fit.
yeah,
Any day of the week, that guy, any given Sunday, he's just going to be there. Like he's going
yeah,
to fucking yeah. So I'm not worried about that. And then obviously the Scott McTominay, like we expected it because we knew Bruno being out. I didn't see anybody else being in that number 10 role position apart from
yeah,
him. Not even Hannibal. I wasn't thinking that far because Hannibal is a very, very short fuse player and he can pick up a yellow very quickly and then you just never know. So I think it made sense. Rashford benching, I thought, and we actually discussed it. We
yeah.
thought that he was going to be able to go against Trent, but the
Yeah.
gaffer, like you've mentioned, he's now decided no, Garnacho will be there, and Garnacho did a decent job, and
Mm.
like Rashford, I'm sure I don't know what he's thinking, but if he's comfortable in that role, be coming off the bench, hey, so be it, man. We're gonna keep
Yeah.
on moving forward. Yeah.
True. True.
But
True.
yeah, it the starting lineup wasn't very surprising. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. And now let's jump to the stats because you know what we always say stats don't tell the whole story, but these stats are ridiculous. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Almost bordering alarming. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I think for
Yeah.
these stats, it's very impressive that we're able to pull a draw. Because when you look at the
Yeah.
possession, they had almost 70% over us. Shots on
Yep.
target, they had eight. We only had one shot on target. And if I'm not
Yep.
mistaken, that should have
That
been
was the
Rasmus
only.
Hoyland
Yeah,
when
it
he
was
when
the
he hit Allison.
only time. Yeah.
Only shot on target, and then they had 34 shots in total versus our six. You know, touches 835 versus our 512, and they had 12 corners versus zero corners for us. So the whole game, no corners. So they were really coming at us. You know, they had the
Yeah.
most ball possession, but they
Yeah.
just failed to do something, about it. So is this a takeaway? Is this a good takeaway? Is this got to do with the midfield with the pairing of Kobe Mainu and Amrabat and starting Varane and Luke Shaw on that left side, to help solidify that defense against Trent and Salah. Like, is this like the beginning? Do you feel this is the beginning of a new starting, six, so to say? Like, is this the best way forward? Because we've always spoken about it. We've always said use Kobe Manu, use Sofran Amrabat, put Varane back in the team. Varane's back in the team. He started Kobe, he started Sofrian, and that made a world of a difference. We're able to shut down shop. We never
Mm.
allowed them to score a goal. Albeit, yes, they did have good chances that they squandered, but still, right? We're able to hold ourselves. So, what are you saying, fam? Do you think this is the
Bro,
best way
okay.
forward, or would you still think that it can be tweaked?
No, definitely. And when it can be tweaked, I'm talking about, for example, Martinez coming back,
Yeah,
Casemiro coming back, because that will make a world of a difference. We need to take a like that. We need to give big shout outs to some of the players in this game, especially like Luke Shaw and Varane. Bro,
yeah,
those guys, when you look at that game, man, they were on it. Like they decided to take the responsibility on their shoulders. Even Johnny Evans, like that pairing for Johnny. You see what's funny about our defensive pair, like our defense this season. It has
yeah,
been so mixed matched that if we are able to collect any clean sheet, like we need to give our defense big props because
yeah,
it's you're always you never know who you're pairing with. You're not able to build that consistency like that partnership that we saw in Varane and Martinez. It's chop and change. It's chop and change. This
yeah,
guy's injured 1 minute, this guy's here. And for them to play like they've been, bro, Varane and Evans were shutting everything down. Luke Shaw was not, he kept Mo Salah at bay. It was good. Delors was, it was good. And then
yeah.
Kobe Manu. Kobe Manu, I he has to play every game.
Every
Every
game,
fucking game. That boy needs to
every
play.
game,
I don't want to hear
every game,
anything.
dog.
Every game. 90 minutes.
Hey fam,
Let's
if
get
there's
the
one
minutes
player
under
whose
his name.
name needs to be first on that list,
Kobe.
on that starting lineup, it's
Bro.
Kobe. It's
Bro, that
Kobe.
boy
That
is
man,
I
you know,
I every time I
and
watch it, dude, it's just
yeah,
like, wow, is this
dude.
really true? Like, do we really have this gem? What a player, bro.
And you know what really impresses me is that he's so small, but he's able to be so physical in that midfield. I was watching this one part in the first half where he's literally like shrugging the Liverpool players off him. You know what I mean? And then still able to whip a brilliant pass to Anthony
Bro,
fam. And I'm
bro,
like,
bro, we
I was
have
like,
a gem,
how, like, why are we even benching him? Why is he even on the bench? Why is they like,
bro,
oh man, like Kobe, man, Kobe is so impressive. It's so refreshing. It's so
bro.
refreshing. It's like he's that missing link. It's like when we're lacking creativity in the team and we bought Bruno, and all of a sudden there was just creativity and chances created like in
In abundance.
abundance. You know what I mean? And Kobe sort of brings that same thing because we never had that stability. We never had that muscle. We never had that. And né, and I don't want people to get me wrong, right? It's almost as though he plays that position better than Casemiro. I'm not saying he's better than Casemiro, but I'm just saying he plays it as good, if not better than Casemiro when he's playing in that
I,
position.
I,
If you
I
understand
get
what I
you,
mean.
but yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
I'm not saying he's better
but
than him, so no one should come
yeah,
for my neck. You know what I
yeah,
mean? But I'm just
yeah.
saying, like, if you had to like tell me who do I think is like the best CDM for us right now, for not talking about accolades, what have they done, da 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 da. You know what I mean? Like, man,
Mm.
for me, it just has to be Kobe. I don't know if I'm getting ahead of myself. I don't
Oh,
know if I'm being
no,
too
no,
excited.
no, you're
I
not.
would say that. But
But you're,
if you had to ask me who would I start, definitely I'm starting Casemiro because he just
yeah,
obviously has that
yeah,
overall experience
yeah,
and he will
yeah,
obviously know what to do in certain situations because Kobe is
yeah,
still an up and coming player. He's still young.
yeah.
His game still needs to
Thank
develop.
you.
He is going to make mistakes. You understand what I'm saying? But
You've
yeah, man,
answered
I
yourself.
I
Like you
think
answered yourself.
yeah. So if I could have it my way, I'm starting Casemiro and I'm starting Kobe Mainu, and then Amrabat comes off the bench. But yeah, man, um, wow, beautiful game by
No, so
Kobe
you
yesterday
asked
up against
you asked
Liverpool.
oh
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Go ahead.
you asked me if this was like a building, like if we're
Yeah. Yeah.
starting
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
and 100% because we are still got people coming back. If Casemiro comes back, bro, that midfield of Casemiro and Kobe Menu and Bruno,
Yeah.
because one thing that we saw in this game is that man, man, Scott McTominay, we love him for what he has done, but man, the next game I want to see
Yep.
Bruno in that number 10 position
Yep.
because if
Yep.
Bruno was playing, and you see, I don't want to use this if because
Yeah.
maybe if he
Yeah.
played, he would have had a pop game, and then he would have been moaning, and then people would have misunderstood him, and then all
Yeah.
sorts of things. But the chances that we were creating, because even though we didn't like we were not better than Liverpool, but we
Yeah.
tried to we held our own with what we had.
True.
That little progress that we've been talking about, the small little thing, it was that we frustrated them.
Yeah.
Liverpool can miss me with this nonsense that hey, it was only one team that wanted to win. Van Dijk said
Yeah.
something that was so out of line, and I'm like, oh, okay, so this is where we are at. Like these guys are forgetting, like, oh, okay, so we're now arrogant like this. This is cool.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
were they were useless in front of the goal in the final third. Let's
Yeah.
not sit
Yeah.
here and say that Liverpool. Nah, they
True.
were fucked up. They messed up. It's just like
Yeah.
how we complain about our front three when they don't score goals. It's the same thing that
Yeah.
happened with Liverpool. So they can
Mm-hmm.
take their nonsense and they can move.
Yeah.
We frustrated them. Our players defended with their hearts, man. Yesterday,
True.
it was
Yeah.
no joke, bro. It was like
Mm-hmm.
do or die. And bah, so
Yeah.
that game showed us that the next cock or the next thing to put into that team is Bruno. He comes back in against West Ham
Yeah.
because West Ham are
Yeah. Those guys are
they
on
are
form.
they are on form.
Yeah.
They've got a player in there called Kudus
Yeah.
who is stubborn.
Yeah.
Bowen is also stubborn.
Yep.
Ward
Yep.
Prowse is stubborn. We need
Mm-hmm.
people that are going to want to go head to head with certain people, not
True.
fucking dodging. So, but I have this strange feeling that Scott McTominay will be part of that. And it's either going
Yeah.
to be Amrabat and Maino. One of them will
Mm,
start that game.
mm, mm.
If one of them is to start that game, I want it
Yeah.
to be Maino. The problem is they will always be left alone. We need that
Mm,
double pivot. That double pivot
yeah.
works for us right now because we have the players. If we only
True.
use one, it's not good, especially if you've got a
Yeah.
passing.
Yeah.
So I think, and then I mean, Rashford came on, looked okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Rasmus, I know people are going in on him on that chance, but it was that one chance. You know,
Exactly.
you've seen the
Mm,
stats. There's some weird stat that's floating around about the player that doesn't receive the most passes in the league, and he's right at the bottom. Like he doesn't get service. Yeah, I'll send it to you. There's a
mm,
stat of the strikers that receive the most balls, like that are getting service. and
Yeah.
Son is like number one. He's at the top,
Okay.
and then they're
I
listed
think I
down.
think the first time when you said it. I think you said it vice versa. That's why I pulled that expression. But yeah,
Oh,
it
okay,
makes
yeah.
sense. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It makes
And
sense.
then
He used
Rasmus
to use
is
the
right at the bottom, like
yeah,
he's
yeah.
not
He gets the
receiving any service.
exactly,
And it
exactly.
was the same thing. I mean, we
Yeah,
tried, but Scott McTominay trying to be this number 10 that can't link things.
yeah.
It's frustrating, you
It
know?
is.
So
It
the
is.
gaffer needs to tweak a little bit more.
Yeah.
Little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, no, I hear you, man. When I saw starting 11, I think my only concern was Scott McTominay, but I knew he was going to start, you know.
Yeah.
Everything else I was comfortable with. I was comfortable. Like I said, going into the match, we had the prediction like yesterday when I said we're gonna win 2-1. We took a point, so it's still something. But yeah, I just had a feeling that, you know what, with the with Bruno not being available, he was always going to be forced to play, you know what I mean, Kobe and Amrabat in that game. But obviously,
Yeah.
I put Kobe as a number 10 because I was thinking about creativity, which we lacked, yesterday. It's just all defense and all counter, but no creativity during the game. And it
Thing
reminds me
is,
of the days of Pogba before we brought in Bruno, where we had no creativity. So I'd always be waiting for Pogba to get back from injury so he could
mm,
create something.
mm,
So yesterday's match was a reminder of those times when this team had no creativity in the midfield. All we could do was defend and hit them on the break because we had pace. That was the only way we
mm,
were going to get a goal. But obviously, this game, it demanded something different. It demanded someone to take charge in that midfield, you know, especially having those two CDMs and do something about it. And like you mentioned, Scott McTominay is just a passenger in that game. No contribution to the team. He's not a playmaker. He's a player that always just finds himself in these half chance
right place.
situations, exactly, and happens to bury the ball. So, if anything, and we're gonna keep on repeating this, he might as well just start as a forward player. But obviously,
Mm,
yesterday's game, we don't have Mason Mount. Like he said, Rashford wasn't fully fit to start. Maybe still young, still an erratic player. So we have very few options to actually use. And other people, or other fan bases and pundits and whatever, they don't realize like how deep our injuries really lie. And not only injuries, but the lack of players that United have. We don't have players. We don't have players. As much as we have players, or we don't have players. And especially in positions where we need those sort of players. But I do believe, like, for what we put out yesterday, I'm really proud of ourselves that we managed to hold our own and at least get a point. You know,
yeah.
but yeah, man. I just hope moving forward, he keeps that the Kobe and Amrabat,
I'm not bad. Yeah.
before we get Casemiro back. Obviously, there's now rumors of Varane leaving, so we can Varane leaving in January. So we really hope that we can have Martinez back, by next month, full and fit, ready to start. Maguire
Mm,
back, because it seems like Maguire is a player that we're gonna rely on this season. And I think our biggest mistake, which we'll touch on in another episode, is we shouldn't let this run of Maguire, fool us into extending his contract or whatever. This team still needs revitalizing, you know.
mm.
So if anything, it has only made us justify his price point of 30 million. So we should still go strong into the market and say, look what he did for us last season. He's not a finished player, 30 million. You understand what I mean? Or at least the lowest we can push is 20. But yeah, these players, unfortunately, they need to leave. If we can start clearing them out by January, it's fine. I don't want to say this season is a write off. We're already out of Europe, we're already out of the EFL. We're literally just left with FA Cup and the Premier League. So,
We're going to
which
climb up this table.
exactly. So
I'm telling
the
you. I
only
know
the
people
only
don't
the
want to
only
believe it,
way
but
is
we will.
the only way up. So since we're not in a lot of competitions, I just don't see any excuses for saying, "Oh, I'm
Yeah.
gonna start
Yeah.
one CDM at a time because we're involved in a lot of competitions." No, you start Kobe and Sofran Amrabat at the same fucking time, because all we're gonna be doing is playing Premier League until next year. FA Cup returns, right? So it's man, ish man, yeah. I guess that's all I can say right now. Um,
Ano-
was
Another
yeah,
thing I wanted to talk about was the red card on Dalot yesterday.
oh yeah,
That
yeah,
was an absolute disgrace from the referee. It makes no sense.
yeah,
This is Liverpool at Anfield.
yep,
Emotions are running high. You
mm-hmm,
got the call wrong. The ball
yep,
is not Salah's. It's last
hmm,
minute, and you give a
yeah,
red card, like a double
exactly,
yellow card because of dissent. Come on, man. That took the sting out of everything. It's like
yeah,
really,
yeah,
like this is how you're going to treat us. Like this is you just had to. You just
mm,
had to produce a red card in this derby when it was unnecessary. I think in the
yeah,
beginning there was somebody. I don't know if it was Nunes or somebody, or is it
yeah,
Sabotslai? They were supposed to get a red card or a yellow card or something, but they
yeah,
didn't get it. Now,
yeah,
obviously, he's not going to give a Liverpool player a red card at Anfield. That is
mm,
bullshit.
yeah,
Now you just, bruh, I don't understand that. And here's another thing that I don't get. I wonder if we're going to like appeal for it. Like I don't know because
yeah.
I don't think it was fair. I really don't.
But when
Because
was the last time United appealed and we got our decision? Other clubs
that's
appeal
now you see that's
and
the
they
question.
get the decisions revoked.
Like
Son
they never
got his
do.
decision revoked. And then he's just one player that recently came to mind. But a lot of players get their things. I mean, how many games have we watched this week where opposition players have gone to another player and literally strangled them and they haven't been getting a red card? But last season we saw Casemiro get a red card for not
Bro.
even showing that much of aggression because he was not at the person's throat, like, he was just literally pushing him away. And then they just freeze frame and they're like, oh, red card. He's trying to strangle him. Yet, since that event last season, we've had so many instances like that, and players haven't been given a red card. So, you don't want to say it, but it's almost like, the referees and, they're just against us. And I never want to use that. I never want to say that because it sounds like a cop out, even though it's not. But when you just line things up, it's just way too fucking coincidence for it
Ah,
not
it's
to be
coincidence,
like,
man. It's
you know what
bullshit.
I mean? Like the inconsistencies are just ridiculous. When you
Yeah.
see that the low red card, it's so unnecessary. Like you said, emotions are high. The biggest
Like what is
derby
he
in the
supposed to do with
world,
his emotions?
biggest
Are we
rivalry
robots?
in England. You understand what I mean? He has to feel some emotion. The ball was ours. He gets frustrated. He gets frustrated. He's getting a yellow card. What's wrong with getting frustrated that you get a yellow card over a call
Hey,
that was incorrect?
hey,
You know, so that's why I don't like VAR because VAR picks and chooses what it wants to use it for, and the stuff that it should actually be using it for, they don't, because they could have literally just gone back that decision and said, okay, cool, especially in an appeal. You go back to it and say, okay, was he right to be angry? Yes, the ball was United. You gave it to Liverpool. You know what I mean? XYZ, XYZ. And then you get it appealed and you get it revoked. But we all know that's not going to happen. So, yeah, man, it's just one of those things. But yeah, we moved down to seventh place after this draw. We needed it. I'm just kind of like upset that Newcastle are now above us. You know,
they'll
um,
drop again.
even though they've been playing very well and they've had a very high goal scoring record. I just always felt some solace to say, okay, I see you
We're
guys.
above
You're still,
them.
you know what I mean, but we above you. You know what I mean? Like that was like the consolation, you know what I mean? But now for the fact that they're now ahead of us, it's just man, it hurts a little bit. You know what I mean? It hurts a little bit. So yeah, and the funny thing, because I was paying attention to the table this morning, and I'm seeing Unai's Aston Villa because I was monitoring the match on live score, and I see they went down. And I'm like, oh, finally, you know what I mean? And then I just saw 1-1, and then Ollie Watkins comes for the win. I'm like, hey, Una is Aston
Dude,
Villa.
Ebening is
Fam.
doing the
And you
magic.
know what, ne? And I think Una is what you call this? Villa. I think it's going out of the radar, almost like how Leicester went and won. Now, I'm not saying Aston Villa are gonna go and win, right? But I know people know Villa are in top four, but I don't think they know what their position is. And let me clarify in what I mean. Villa are third, right? They are
Mm-hmm.
4 points ahead of City, who are sitting in fourth. They're level points with Liverpool, and they are 1 point from number one and 1 point away from Arsenal.
Yeah.
A point separates Villa and number one.
Mhm.
So Unai can easily in one game week, in one game week, easily be top of the league. And I think that's only when people are gonna open their eyes and be like, wait, what? Villa? What are they doing at the
Nah,
top? You know what
no,
I
I
mean?
don't
I
think
don't
so.
think, fam, I
I
honestly
think I
believe
I
because
think no.
you know why I'm saying this, Ben. You know why I'm saying this.
Mm.
When you listen to the pundits on CBS, on Sky, on ESPN, whenever they talk about like top four stuff, like who do you think is in the race to finish in top four, Europe qualifier, blah blah blah, no one mentions Unai's Villa. No one. They're all saying Liverpool. They're all saying Arsenal. They're all saying City. They're all saying Spurs. They're all saying
Uh,
Newcastle. Some of
uh,
them, some of them are actually even mentioning United, but none of them are putting Villa in that conversation. It's like Villa is just flying under the radar, and no one can actually see that they're in top four. Literally, no one can see that in top four. It's like they're just there, but people can't see them. I don't know, fam. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. You
I
talk to
mean,
me, fam.
no, it will be very foolish if people are not paying attention to Villa. Like, I'm sorry if they are
That's what
not
happened with
seeing.
Leicester.
No, D. It's like Girona. It's like Girona
Yeah,
in the La Liga.
yeah,
In the beginning, I was also like, nah, they're not gonna win, and I'm still like that. But they're top
yeah,
of the league. They're top of the
yeah,
league
yeah,
in La Liga, and they're playing very, very well.
yeah,
And Villa are the same. Like, they are there. Also, when I was getting the notification, I thought, okay, like you said, finally.
yeah,
But Unai is doing the business. Those guys are playing
yeah,
for that guy. They've
yeah.
understood his philosophy. They
Philosophy.
understood what is needed, and they're
Yeah,
getting at it. The
and
only
Una is
way
a
we can
top
stop
manager.
Villa, yeah, the only way we can stop Villa or slow them down is when we meet them. Either we get a draw or we beat them. It's gonna be one of those
Yeah.
tough games. I think we're about to meet them. I think after West Ham, we should be
Okay.
hosting Villa. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's going to be another one of those cracking games. But
Yeah. 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 Villa after West
one
Ham.
thing I've noticed about Man United, we
Mm.
have this weird tendency of like dissolving games.
Yeah.
Like almost like yesterday. Liverpool were frustrated and pissed off yesterday, and sort of rightfully so, because none
Yeah.
of what they were trying to do worked. Now we
Yeah.
have that thing of like absorbing the game and sort of making it a mess or whatever you want to call it. Just make it the way we play. And then
Yeah.
teams are just sort of discombobulated or something like that. So I think when we play against Villa, it'll be one of those kind of situations.
Yeah.
Those guys, if people are thinking they're not in top four, hey man, I don't know. The only thing we can say is
Yeah.
let's wait until the end of the season.
True.
But
True.
it will be a mistake for people to think that Villa
Yeah.
are not even capable of winning this thing. If they don't
Yeah.
pick up injuries and that team just remains the way it is and they continue at this, bro,
Yeah. I hear
and those
you.
guys are playing like lightning, Bielsa kind of football. Like some slick, quick,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
They are
Yeah.
on.
They're
They
on
are
it.
on it.
They're on it.
Eish,
I mean, they literally shut down, what is it, Arsenal and City back to back, back
bro.
to back.
And normally for
Without
some people,
skipping
some
a
teams,
beat. Dude,
when you look at that game week fixture, you're like, "Eish,
fam.
pissing your pants." Like,
Yeah,
and these
yeah.
guys just took it in the chin,
They just
like
skated
commandos.
past it. Fam. They just skated past it like it's another day at the office. And I'm like,
And
God damn.
and you know
Mm,
what you know what's crazy? If you want to know about teams that are going to make in the top four, the
hmm.
teams that they beat in the top four, beat and
Yep.
draw. If they
Yep.
can beat those teams and draw with them and not lose, they
Yeah.
are in question. Like, you cannot
Mm,
deny it. They will make it
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
those are the leaders, no? And
Yeah.
then everybody else are just gonna smack them up. But then if they can, okay, not top four, let's just say the top six because that's where the competition is. The
Yeah.
top six, if they beat everybody and draw,
Yeah.
ah,
Yep. Yep. Top four is theirs.
top four
What
is
can
there.
we do? What can we
What can
do?
you do? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
man.
Just sit
But
there
anyway.
and be like, and then they'll start wanting to get Unai Emery at United because they're tired of Eric Ten Hag, blah blah blah. You know this silly shit. Like nah, you
Yeah.
Aston Villa is a small club. You know you need a prestigious club. Come here.
Mm-hmm.
Then he comes. I go
True.
evening, and then we go through that roller coaster that Arsenal went with him, and
Yeah.
it doesn't work because the culture at United. You know, bruh,
Yeah. For another
this
day.
this this league is
Mm,
this
yeah,
season.
it is. It's
Yeah.
meant. It's meant. But yeah, anyway, that's been the match reaction review of Liverpool versus Manchester United. We took a
Yep.
point. We're happy. We look forward to the next game, which is West Ham.
West Ham.
We'll play. What is that? Is that a home game?
I think it's away.
Yeah, it's an away game playing in the
Yeah.
afternoon. Um, West Ham. Yeah. So that's on the 23rd. So basically, no football this whole week. Up until, jeez, man, why am I not checking all these things at once? Up until Saturday.
Yeah.
First kickoff of the game week, if I'm not mistaken, it's a 12:30 match. So yeah, we're obviously gonna do the preview for that game. But yeah, I think that's basically it. Any last words before we wrap this up?
Nah, man. Liverpool Scousers can go shove it, man. It's your business. Don't come at us here and say, yeah,
Yeah.
the Van Dyke, man. Van Dyke can swivel on it, but he was like, um,
Mm,
it's difficult to play, especially when you're playing like against a team like them. And I'm like,
yeah,
wait, what the hell? What do you mean
dude.
like them? And then he goes, clearly there was one team that wanted to win the game more. And I'm like,
Yeah,
dude, so
nonsense.
like,
Dog.
so like you're coming here like you deserved
Fam,
to win, like you are
exactly.
supposed to
Like
be
it's your
given,
right. Dude.
hey, like it's your
Yeah,
fucking right
you're
to
playing
get the
home.
win.
We need to win, you need to lose. That's the way
Ah,
it has to be. Take it or leave
hey,
it. You know, if
hey.
you don't want to lose, then there's something wrong with you. Like, nah, fam.
And
Like
you know
that's some
what?
nonsense.
The way I took it, bro, it was
Yeah.
disappointment because Tottenham smacked us, Arsenal
Yeah.
smacked us, Man
Exactly.
City smacked us.
City. Dude.
Who else?
Was
Newcastle.
it
Did
Brighton?
Newcastle smack us?
Newcastle, I think, beat us as well, fam.
Right? All those other guys smacked us,
Hey,
and
dude.
it was during a tough period for us.
Yeah.
Now we are sort of finding our groove, and then like, these
You know
fucking
what,
guys,
Ben? You know
they
what? I
find us.
you know what it was, ne? You know what it was. I think they're like, yeah, it's our turn. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
our everyone has had their turn. It's our turn now. And because they never got their turn, now they're disappointed.
they're
That's exactly what it
disappointed.
is. Exactly.
Yeah, foot
Yeah,
sex.
yeah. Yeah.
Puma, I'm back.
Dog.
Chikala. No, I
Hey.
was I was looking at him and I was just like, what, bro?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
man, bro, I want
Yeah.
them. Who?
Yeah.
I want them.
Yeah.
And
True.
and
True.
and that game, we will have
Yeah.
Casemiro there. We
Yep.
will have Martinez
Martinez.
back. We will have
Hmm.
hopefully that's
Yeah.
exactly who should be back during that time. And that
Yes.
is a big boost for us. Like,
Yeah.
bro, Kobe, Kase,
Dude.
Bruno.
Dude. Ish.
Hopefully, Rashford will
I'm
get his shit together. If he
exactly.
doesn't, oh well enough. We've got
I'm in the
Ganacho,
team.
you know. Anthony, oh, by the way, Anthony did an okay game. He was all right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
he wasn't too bad. Like, you
yeah,
know, I don't know why we're not scoring, but man,
yeah,
I don't know if Benny McCarthy is switched off. Like last season, we were praising
yeah.
McCarthy. Yo,
Hey man.
McCarthy is doing this for our boys. Now,
Yeah,
like we're
yeah,
not scoring. Wagwan McCarthy,
yeah.
So
Nah, I hear
yeah,
you.
man. But hey, Liverpool. Yeah,
Yeah,
man. Our rivalry is beautiful. I love it.
yeah, it
Love it.
is.
And for
Not
me,
true.
I had put myself out there.
Yeah,
Normally when you do that and then it backfires,
yeah.
and people come for you like, yeah, you're talking
Yep.
too much. Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. I feel
Exactly.
justified. I feel,
Yep.
yes, I
Mm,
know my team. Like I
exactly.
get them.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
happy.
I'm also happy I put it out there that we're not going to lose, and I'm happy we didn't
Yeah.
lose. So I'm
Yeah,
happy about
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But yeah, nah, perfect last final words. And once again, thank you very much for listening to another episode of the Glory Reds podcast. Don't forget you can catch us on all your favorite podcasting platforms of Glory Reds FC. We're also now live on YouTube. And with that being said, we are out. Peace.
Peace.